Hello, it's Adam Morrison. When it comes to top-tier contracting, my go-to choice is McGilvery Environmental. I know a thing or two about excellence, and that's exactly what you'll find with Kip McGilvery and his team. They're not just any contractor, they're the best in Spokane and North Idaho. From start to finish, they ensure your project is completed with the highest quality results. With years of experience and expertise, they handle it all. New construction, meticulous repairs, asphalt paving for residential and commercial properties, excavation, and even environmental remediation. So why wait? Reach out to Kip McGilvery Environmental today by calling 208-556-6384 for your free estimate. Don't forget to mention my name, Adam Morrison, and experience the difference McGilvery Environmental brings to the table. Again, that's 208-556-6384, McGilvery Environmental. My number one choice for all my contracting needs. We're very excited to announce a new partner to the Perimeter Podcast, M4 CPA. M4 CPA is a family-owned accounting firm passionate about helping businesses and their owners create a secure future for their families. They pride themselves on the quality of their work and put their clients first, ensuring they get the attention and care they deserve. Their mission is to provide exceptional accounting services to help you achieve your financial goals. M4 CPA is all about building long-term relationships based on trust, integrity, and transparency. With a team of experienced professionals, they offer personalized solutions to meet your needs. If you're a Perimeter listener, here's an exclusive offer for you. Mention the Perimeter Podcast when you reach out to M4 CPA and get a free business consultation to assess your financial strategies. So, if you're looking for an accounting firm that truly cares about your business, trust M4 CPA. They're in your corner every step of the way. M4 CPA, accounting you can trust with a personal touch. Learn more at m4cpa.com. Welcome to the Perimeter, Season 5, Episode 3, presented by McGilvery Environmental, Idaho Central Credit Union, and M4 CPA. Exciting episode. Regular season's going to start on Monday, November 3rd, Texas Southern. But everybody was kind of clamoring and holding their breath, and we got great ruling for Tyon Grant-Foster. Won his injunction. We'll get into that. We'll talk about a little bit of Texas Southern and then preview a little bit the Oklahoma. And then we'll talk about, kind of the schedule, and then we have some questions. But the topic of the night last night, obviously we played Western Oregon, a Division II team, won by 58. They actually looked good for the first 6 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we went on a 28-0 run, and it was over after that. I'll talk a little bit about the starting lineup and how everybody fits, but people not familiar, he had a ruling by the NCAA where he said he wasn't eligible for this season. And it was one of those head scratchers where, he had an issue with, he played JUCO, then he went to 1 year at Kansas, then transferred to DePaul and played maybe 3 games total for DePaul in 2 years and literally died twice. That's a direct quote.
Wow.
From a heart issue. And so then he goes to Grand Canyon, and then there's a COVID year mixed into that. And so his argument was, I didn't have 4 full years. And the NCAA's argument was you had 7 to get 4. So it was kind of a head scratcher because the NCAA since COVID has kind of just given out, here's a year, grad transfers, all the crazy stuff that you can say is good or bad. And I'll get into that, kind of my thoughts, and I'll play devil's advocate a little bit because I think you have to. You can't just go, well, he should be allowed to play. I want to see what the NCAA and what they thought, because some of it, they're not going to bring an argument unless they think it's logical, because they get sued all the time. So they're sick of, I think they're trying to make it a stand for themselves as an organization. But also, Tom Hudson on last night's broadcast made a great point. He goes, as much as we're excited for him to play, the institutions together have to start talking about, okay, the model is not supposed to have 26-year-olds playing 18-year-olds.
Right.
And which is fair. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that is a really good point. So
going off of that, it's like, okay, I could see where the NCAA, because he is 25, but when they first came down with the ruling, it was like he had a major heart issue documented. It's not like he missed half a season because he tore his hamstring, and so sometimes they give those guys a year back. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a major health scare. So my point is like, I don't know why it got to that point, but what happened was they were trying to kick the ruling up to federal court, the NCAA, which, from my understanding, talking to people last night, was more of a delay factor because, interesting enough, last night was the last day that he could accept a scholarship at Gonzaga. So it literally was coming down to the wire.
Right, yeah.
Which is kind of, messed up that the NCAA would do that. But I get how legal stuff works. If you don't think you can win, or if you think you can win, sometimes you just delay shit to piss people off and just get people to be like, all right, we're tired of writing checks. Let's just come together. You know what I mean? Like, I get that strategy. It works both ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so it got to where they tried to get the federal ruling. They kicked it back down to a county system, or what, a county judge.
Yeah.
And so he got a ruling in Spokane County, and it's just an injunction for him to get a ruling in June, but it doesn't matter because it's his last year.
Yeah, right.
So it like, he's obviously eligible, and Gonzaga will not get in trouble, for playing an ineligible guy if it gets ruled. It just literally was an injunction to be like, okay, we'll decide this in July. So
right.
It's over. But from my understanding, like, I started laughing when I heard that. I was like, awesome. You know what I mean?
So they probably won't even do the injunction. They'll just go through the season. And
that was the whole point.
Yeah.
Is so
right.
And again, like I just mentioned, like, the whole idea of college sports is not to have 25, 26-year-olds playing 18-year-olds, because it's kind of gotten weird in certain regards. Like, you see in guys that have played 9 years, and you know what I mean? But I think there's always exceptions to the rule.
Mm-hmm.
Major heart issue, you know what I'm saying? 2 years. And then you mix in, he was a COVID, it was part of the COVID years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, if you're going to give all the other people grace with COVID, he's still part of that net, even though that net's, it's almost done, in which I understand. But I was happy for the kid, obviously happy for the team. The ovation he got was terrific last night.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
You could see the smile on his face. From what I understanding, and this is not embarrassing to him at all, but he was crying when he found out because you got to think, since June, he didn't know if he was going to play.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, before the 10 days that he was allowed, he couldn't practice with the team. So he basically was hanging around, hoping he can play. And then they say yes. And then for 10 days, and then they finally come back and say, no, you can't. So then he couldn't practice with the team. So,
Jesus.
The relief that it must feel for the kid has to be, tremendous. Then also, too, like, your time as a young athlete, and in a lot of professions, is finite to earn. And I know that sounds funny talking about a collegiate athlete, but his time to earn is finite, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if he didn't get granted this year, with the idea that he was going to get granted another year, he was potentially losing out on NIL money. He was going to potentially lose out on, like, well, if I would have known, I would have, put my name in the draft. Okay, then probably had to go overseas or G League, but now all those jobs are gone.
Mm-hmm.
So it literally was like a huge deal, not from the standpoint of just having another terrific wing on the perimeter for a young person, especially athlete, to make some money in a finite time is what I'm trying to get at. So obviously it was extremely great news. I would have said the same thing I said at the first night when we talked about it on air. If it was a St. Mary's kid, I'm like, if the kid, I don't care what jersey he has on, if he had a major heart surgery issue, and he was part of the COVID pool. Just grant him the fucking year, and then you're almost done with all the COVID kids. I hate that word or whatever, like that phrase, but that's the COVID where everybody gets a year, but you just kind of had to. It was so weird back then. So it's like it got to a point where I was just like, why they it's not they're picking on him, but I was like, why was this case, the one where they try to draw the line in the sand is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
And so thank God, and it's not to get political, but like in this country that it's not the NCAA just didn't have a gavel and say, you're done. You have the judicial system to fight it.
Of course. Yeah. That's
And
great.
you know what I mean? And you can actually, hear your case and, but apparently the ruling was pretty dicey because it was supposed to last an hour. They said it lasted 2.5, and they said the NCAA, had great, arguments, obviously, because their main argument was like, no, we gave you 7 and to get 4, like, what else do you want us to do? And it's kind of like, you know what I mean? The exception is the major heart issue. That's where my argument, even Gonzaga or not, say, okay, now if he was a kid that, let's say he blew out his knee, whatever, and he said, well, tough shit, man. Like, it happens, you know what I'm saying? But this is like a major issue, not that knee injuries. I've had one myself, tore an ACL, but like, you know what I'm saying? There's a difference between like a orthopedic injury than your heart might explode tomorrow, right? You know what I'm saying? And so it was great news. It was cool to see everybody kind of jovial. I was a little surprised that he played, but I also understand it. He hasn't been practicing with them for the last 10 days or whatever. The ruling came down. Like, he can't even practice with the team. So I understand, like, you kind of got to get him out there and just run around. Like, just run around. Even if you don't even touch the ball, like, go up and down. He looks a little bit out of shape to me.
Yeah.
Which is reasonable. And when I say that, it's not a knock, but it's like, you can go against the cones all day. You can do shooting drills. You can run. You got to play live. And so this next week, we have a week until the opener. He's probably going to have a hard week of practice where it's going to be like, no, dude, you're in every drill and we're going full speed and you're staying after and we're doing all our sets and our actions and our calls and you got to get an A+ on it. And then you're running 16s after. I mean, but you have to get yourself lively. But it kind of throws some question marks in like the lineup too, in a good way.
Absolutely.
We have such amount of depth on the perimeter. Adding him now, but Tom Hudson made a great point too as well, and I keep stealing his things, but that's why I love working with him because he's a smart guy. He's a basketball guy. He goes, he's obviously going to help us, but it wasn't going to make or break this team. So this is just like a more of a positive for a human being for a kid. And I was like, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh God, if he doesn't make it, we're going to be dog shit or we're going to be 500. I was like, no, we got another weapon. We got a kid that was, I think player of the year for Grand Canyon in the WAC one year or whatever conference they're in. You know what I mean? So we got a really good player. But yeah, it just overall, and then actually, it for real, it made me proud. More proud as a Zag that the university would stick up for this kid and spend the money to represent him.
That's right. Yeah, it was really cool.
It's just cool.
Coach Few, like, he skipped WCC Media Day last week to do the original injunction that they rescheduled, and then and I got the alert last night, like literally like 40 minutes before the game was going to start, and like I imagine they just rushed over to the kennel and got ready for the game.
It was like AAU style. They just got done with your jersey mics and then let's get over to the next gym and get out there and warm up. But yeah, we were obviously on the air doing our pregame, and I was talking, and then Huddy flashed it to me. It was like, oh. So, and it was actually obviously cool, but it was like, sweet, now we have something to talk about instead of Western Oregon or whatever the fuck we just play that. So I was like, God, how are we going to get through this post-game or pregame show? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, obviously terrific news. It just makes you feel good that you can, logic and reason can win. And this is not a bash the NCAA thing. They do a lot of great things. They really do. And they get shit on all the time. And that's got to get old. But also, like, this one was the ultimate head scratcher for me from a standpoint of heart issue, COVID, and you've given everybody else in America an extra year just because if they argue it. So it's just like, why was the stand for this kid? We'll never know. It doesn't matter. Thank God for the judicial system in this, and thank God that it was in Spokane County.
Right, totally.
Judge Maria something. I looked it up, and I was like, she got my vote next time she comes up.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in the local elections, I was like, that'd be funny if Tony Hazel got it. He was a Gonzaga grad. I think he's a Superior County judge. He might have gone up further, but buddy of mine, his I'm going on a tangent, but his older brother taught me at Gonzaga, and his dad taught me. They're legends, law school legends.
Okay.
He went to Gonzaga. You know what I mean? It'd be funny if they somehow he got the case. Like,
Right.
okay, we're gonna get this one's already done. Don't even show. Like, I'll represent myself. Like,
Definitely.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think you said it a lot already. Like like he had the heart problem. He missed 2 full years of basketball when he was at his peak, and to give him a shot to come play at Gonzaga is like, it doesn't matter. Like it could be any team in the NCAA.
Any team. And we're not kidding. Like if it was a St. Mary's kid, like, yeah, let him play, man. What the hell? Like he had a real thing. Like, let him play. And if we're gonna, pay kids and all this stuff, like, why can't he play then? And so that, again, we don't have to talk about it. We don't have to be bitter, obviously. But it's also like, it was just a weird head scratcher. Why is this case the one that they draw the line in the sand for them?
Yeah.
And we'll never know. Doesn't matter. Maybe they thought they could win it, or maybe they thought, obviously Gonzaga is a big brand, but it's not like a Power 5 big dollars school. You know what I'm saying? In that regards, we're like, well, do you know who their boosters are? Like if you're like Ohio State or something, whatever, like old like Oklahoma State, like, well, T. Boone Pickens can write him a check for $60 million right now, like, and he actually owns the land right across from the street from the NCAA, whatever. Like, I think let's not mess with him anyway. So, last night was, like I said, was great in that regards. We beat the crap out of Western Oregon.
The Perimeter will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
It's time for Home Team Rewards. Zag fans, get your Bulldog branded ICCU Premier Rewards Visa credit card, the only card where you can earn rewards for everyday purchases while giving back to Gonzaga University. Choose from a Visa Rewards card with a lower rate or a Premier Rewards card with maximum rewards. With no annual fees, card control, and next-level security, you can spend smart from tap to app. Zags, rejoice! Find your card at iccu.com/GoZags on approved credit.
Last night was, like I said, was great in that regards. We beat the crap out of Western Oregon. I thought we looked good. We had a stretch against Northwest where we went 1 for 11. So, my pregame keys to the game were like rhythm offensively. I think we achieved that. The resistance athletically was better than Northwest, but we just made every shot. You know what I mean? So we looked really good. Obviously, Graham and Braden were terrific inside. I always forget. I don't forget his name. I just say it wrong. Ismail Dejane. I'm going to learn it. Kid off the bench was terrific. The other lefty. Just curious that we got 3 like 6'11" lefties that are pretty skilled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of an interesting tactic. I think it's going to be a terrific 3-man kind of system inside where we don't really lose much when we sub. Obviously, Graham and Braden are a little more polished offensively, but that kid has improved. He runs better this year. He's catching better. Remember, he gave us the shot in the arm last year against Santa Clara that we needed, and kind of like woke us up and got everybody going. So I'm excited in that regards. He had a good game. He backed into a double-double last night. Kind of like, oh, he was 6 for 7. Like, I thought he missed a couple, but he looked terrific. Who I really like is Davis Fogel, just his activity. But, going off of having Tyon back, you got to start asking yourself, like, what are we doing, like, rotation-wise?
Yeah.
Right?
It's very, like, I mean, how much is Coach Few showing what he's running this year in these exhibition games? Because, like, I mean, last night he was doing full, almost like,
everything,
full subs. Like, everyone was subbing. Like, and obviously when we get into big games and WCC, that probably won't happen. But I mean, this roster is deep.
I know. It's curious because, it's nice to have 10, 11 that can play. Is it manageable? Yes. Are you usually very good when you're doing that? Not really, because the rhythm aspect is tough.
Right.
And I don't care what anybody says. If you play, I think basketball and probably golf are the two most rhythm sports. Major sports where like rhythm and confidence matter the most. Obviously football, but it's a power game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Baseball, obviously there's a rhythm, but there's so much break in between at bats or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's not a constant. You're in the flow. Golf, same thing. Every time you go to your ball, you're shooting next. You know what I mean? So you got to be in a rhythm. So if you're playing 10, 11 guys, you can take away from that. Now, the counter is, okay, we could throw different type of bodies at you, fresh legs, different personnel lineups. That's terrific as well. I think the predicted starters for me will be obviously Braden Smith, the two big lefties inside. That's no question. So there's three. So it's only two spots that are kind of quote unquote up in the air. I think Steele's earned that, not because of he's had injuries. I think he's looked pretty good.
Yeah,
moving wise, he's looked good. It's not just he's been here for 2 years, even though he's had injuries. No, he's looked good. So then you go, okay, do you want to play Miller at the 2-3 or whatever, that the other off wing, or do you want to play Inocente at the off wing? And then you got Davis Fogel. Obviously, I don't think he's going to start, but in years past, if this wasn't a transfer portal world, he probably would start because he's good enough. He's a top 40 recruit.
Yeah.
He looks pretty good to me. He looks wiry, strong, looks aggressive. I know we've played two Division I teams, but I'm just looking at like attack and
he had 11. He went for 11 from free throws last night.
Yeah, like he tried to dunk on a couple guys. I like that. He's got some juice to him. He's fiery. He's about the same build, probably a little bit stronger, a little bit taller than Dusty was, but more aggressive towards the rim.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him really shoot it from the outside. From all accounts, he can, but he hasn't taken very many. And then you got Worley. Where does he fit in? I think he's a 3-4, more of a 4-3. I think he's got to play too, though. That's the question, because he kind of seems like a guy that kind of does everything. He's like an Anton, but Anton was a better scorer. But like, you need guys that swing the ball, that can set a weird kind of big to small like size ball screen every once in a while. Tip outs. He can switch at all positions. A guy that, hey, their best players rolling, like every time he touches it, like make him trip and fall, then fall on him. You know what I mean? You need those like kind of glue guys. So then you're like, okay, where does he fit? And then you're going, like I said, Davis Fogel. How many minutes does he get?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because he's looked good, but it's like, well, he's a freshman, but there's all these other guys that we just brought in, and then so you're scratching your head a little bit, like as far as the minutes. Saint Supri or whatever his name is, Mario, the backup point guard, the freshman.
Yeah.
How many minutes is he going to play? He's looked all right too. But they've also talked about sometimes playing him and Braden Smith in the same lineup.
Right.
Well, the fuck, who doesn't play then? So I think it's going to be a little bit like we had the last couple years, where you'll look and be like, and this is not a knock just going off my head, like, why did Ajayi only play like 6 minutes tonight? And then the next game, like, how come Ben Gregg only played 8? And then, you know what I'm saying? It might be just a personnel game, scheme. And then, like, you might get your first shake with your unit off the bench, and you got about 3.5 minutes to make something work, or you're coming out and you probably won't go back in. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how it is. Not my cup of tea, but
Right.
it's the style that we've played. Obviously, Coach Few and the staff will figure that out. But right now, I think it's Braden Smith, the two lefties, Steele, and then I think you go with Inocente as the starter. Just because I think he's kind of earned it. He's a defensive guy. I think he's more comparable shooter than people give him credit for. He just doesn't take a lot, but it doesn't look broken.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I hate when people, like, well, he can't shoot. Like, how many shots does he shoot a game? Like 2?
Yeah.
Fuck, man. You know what I mean? Like, you can't every time he catches it, and if he's never the one to shoot it, and if he goes 0 for 1, like, well, he sucks. Like, well, fuck, he hasn't touched it. Or you haven't seen that he's swung the ball 6 times when he could have shot it, but he's doing the right team play and throwing it to the better shooter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you need those guys on the floor. So I don't know, man. It's a wealth of riches, if that's the term. But also, like, it's one of those deals, man. There's going to be some hurt feelings naturally, not in a bad way, not locker room cancers type, I'm saying. But, like, hey, man, it's going to be like the pros a little bit. There's going to be nights when you play 8 minutes, man, and I better not see a scowl on your face.
Yeah.
But when you get in, you better go nuts, and your unit better go good together, right? Because that's sometimes how it is, and it sucks. I've been in those situations where you go in and, I mean, you don't play bad, you don't like do anything terrible, but your unit is -6 in 4 minutes. Fuck. You know what I mean? You're like, damn it. And there's nothing, and sometimes it's like nothing you can do. Like some guy hit 2 threes, and you guys contested, you did everything right. Okay, this unit's not going to play as much. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of how it's going to be. Obviously, the 2 bigs with DeJounte, those 3 are going to play the majority of that 5 spot and the 4 spot. So there's some minutes that are going to be up in the air, and I don't know who or how. And I think it's going to be based on personnel and scheme, as far as the fluidity or the how much they get into like a normalcy of when people play. Because again, Davis Fogel's looked good.
He does. He's looked really good. Like,
he's looked really good, and so he's a top 40 recruit for a reason. But we've had top 40s or top 50s before that are good players, but you're not like, man, he's got to play right away. You're like, well, maybe in a year he's going to play a ton, but maybe this year you don't, blah, blah, blah. And that's happened before, and there's nothing wrong with that. We've had guys do that. Rui was kind of not a top 40, but like that's a lottery pick. But his first year, you're not playing, bro. You know what I mean? You ain't ready type of deal. You know what I mean? So,
well, I mean, the way I see it, this reminds me a lot of you playing for Gonzaga when you came in as a freshman. Like, I don't really remember that well of like the whole dynamics of the team back then. But like when you came in, were you expecting to play a lot?
So it was weird. We had 6 seniors that year. And so it was Blake Stepp, Kyle Bankhead, Corey Violette, Richard Fox, Tony Skinner. And then I'm blanking on the 6th. It might have been
Brian Michelson.
It was B. No,
but he was a junior.
He was a junior, and B. Mike's not going to get offended. He wasn't like in the rotation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's just guys who were playing.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, there was there wasn't a lot of minutes, and so I kind of went into camp like, okay, if I'm gonna play, I'm gonna have to figure this out right away, and I have to come in and make something happen. And I was lucky enough that I had guys that would, share the ball with me coming off the bench. And then I had some good games early. So then I kind of got the leash, widened right away. But it's harder now, in my opinion, because, and maybe this is not the right, I guess it's the right thing to say, like, you're paying guys.
Right.
So you kind of have to play them. And as messed up as that sounds, you don't have to, but it adds a layer of like, well, if we're paying this guy and we recruited him in the transfer portal, I think we have to play him or at least give him the first shake.
Definitely.
But like for me, Fogel's like, I'm looking at him, I'm like, okay, he looks solid with the ball. I've heard good things from the staff, and usually they're pretty honest. As far as like, and they're not going to be like, well, we completely missed, not things like that. But I've had a couple times where they're like, probably in 6 months he'll be ready, but he's surviving right now. You know what I mean? That's fine. And that happens to freshmen. You get punched in the mouth. You don't know what's going on. The style, it takes guys longer. Sometimes it's like, no, his body's just not ready yet. That's nothing wrong with that. But haven't heard that at all. And I know he's pretty good. He's ready to go. So then you're like, well, who does he play over? And so it's going to be interesting. It's a good thing to have, but also, as we know, we've seen it, all the good teams, especially Fewey's, he gets down to 7.5, 8 guys. I talk about it all the time by January. You know what I mean? And then February, mid-conference, when about 15 games in, 20 games into the regular season, this is my lineup.
Yeah.
This is who I'm going with. This is who I trust. Everybody else be ready, but unless something crazy happens, you're probably not going to play. You don't say that, but it's like, these are the crew I'm going with. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. It's great for us, gives us a lot of content.
Yeah.
Just stuff to talk about.
It really does.
But at the same time, it's like, whoa, man, like it's, there's probably some unflattering phone calls you'd probably get from parent, not, like cussing you out, but like, why isn't my son playing? And you got to be like, well, and you got to politic a little bit, and that does happen. It's not like AAU basketball, but it's also like, if you send your kid there, sometimes the phone line is open, not directly to Fewey, but you're going to be talking to the assistant like, well, how come Johnny's not playing? Well, and then you got to be like, that ain't funny doing that either. And sometimes it's like, oh, he's terrific, but the other guy's just a little bit better. And that sucks saying that too. Because it's not a lie.
No, it's not.
Sometimes it's not. It's like, nah, man, your son would play for us any day of the week if that other guy wasn't here. Sorry, man. You know what I mean? And that sucks too, because sometimes they're good kids, and it's not an attitude thing. It's like the other guy's this much better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's a good problem for us to have, though. So
absolutely. And going back to the Tyon thing, obviously he's going to play. So does he come off the bench right away, or do you play Injunction for? Like, it's.
Well, so in the exhibition games, in the Northwest game, Injunction was hurt. And
Yeah,
did not
he
play.
hurt his rib or something.
And then he didn't start, but Adam Miller started in that place. And then when last night against Western Oregon, it was Injunction. So but
I think it's like I said, it's Venters and Injunction. Obviously the two lefties, and then Braden Smith that's locked up.
Yeah,
he's looked good too.
Yeah,
he only had 2 points last night, but he wasn't looking to score. Doesn't need to. I said it on the air, and I'm going to say it. And this is not to be taken as a slight, but he needs to be a game manager quarterback.
Yeah,
for us, get the ball across half court, flatten the defense, disorganize them. Throw it to your post, get 6-7 assists every night just because you got, 2 All-American types inside, tough covers. Make an open 3 every once in a while. You're going to average 10 points, probably 7 assists, look really good. And then every once in a while you can get your 18 because he's a capable shooter, and then just be a pest defensive. You know what I mean? I'm like, but you can just be a game manager, man. Like, an easy job. Don't turn it over. Get it across half court. And then throw it to guys that are going to put the ball in the basket. Like,
that's all we got. That's
all you got to do. Yeah, it's 100%. Just be a game manager. Like, hand it off to Emmett Smith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then play action to Michael Irvin, and you look great. Right?
Yeah.
Boom, you're done. You know what I mean? So I think it's a perfect spot for him. And like I said, I think Mario off the bench has looked good. He's got a little flair to him, a little spice. He's a big guard, too. He's a big kid for a point guard. So I like this roster. Coming in 21st on the AP, 8 on the Ken Palm. We've talked about it. If you've listened to the previous season, the Ken Palm is the kind of the analytical side of the rankings. They do strength of schedule and all this. It's not bullshit because I hate, I don't love analytic stuff, but it's the way the world's going. So it's not terrible. But also remember last year we were like 15th in the Ken Palm, and then we got like an 8 seed. So we're like, well, what the fuck does this mean anymore? You know what I mean? So like, I have a love-hate with it because, sometimes our ranking will be higher, but like, well, actually, statistically, we're pretty good, or Ken Palm's great. So I like where we're at going into this season because we have kind of no expectations as far as national. Obviously, there's always going to be expectations at Gonzaga.
Yeah.
But it's also nice to like just be like, yeah, man, we kind of got to prove it year. We got 2 really good bigs inside that are really good, and then everybody else is kind of like question mark. Sweet. I think it's a great great way to be. We can play hungry. We can play, there's a target on your back, but not completely. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's talking about number 1 seeds or anything like that. I think it's kind of fun. So I think it's a good spot for this club to start the season and kind of see where we go from there. But
yeah, I was gonna kick this weekly segment off with the stat of the week, and presented by M4 CPA, our accounting firm. So the stat this week that I pulled the thought was just nuts was Gonzaga opened in the top 25 of the AP poll for the 16th straight year.
Crazy.
Ranked 21st, and you kind of already answered it. This seems low. It only seems low to me because I know who we lost, but having Ike and Huff back, and I know the exhibition games don't mean anything, but just watching them already, like I feel like there's so much potential for this team.
So I always take the rankings as they kind of look at who you got coming back. It's a terrific point. But then we have so many unknowns and transfers. So I kind of like, all right. And then again, I'd rather be in this spot than, a top 4 team. And then like, okay, you're kind of playing not to lose or, you know what I'm saying? Like, but we've had teams in the past, I think that the first Final Four team, they were highly ranked to start and they were still hunters. So like, it's kind of what your crew is. If you got that mentality, you're going to be fine. But I think you could argue it seems low.
Yeah,
you're right. You know what I mean? Like not completely in my eyes, but 16 straight years of being ranked is crazy in the preseason. It really is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it just is. Again, we talk about it, especially in years past about the expectations at this university, and sometimes you have to remind the listening audience and the fan base how long and sweet this run has been, and how crazy it's been. Because we get caught up in we didn't win the Final Four, and it's like we had the 9 straight Sweet 16s.
Yeah, gosh,
you know what I mean? Like you just forget it. Like, well, yeah, we'll be out of the first weekend. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. And then last year we almost beat the national runner-up, and we had them. We had a chance. You know what I mean? Like. And that's the game where they probably look back. They're like, yeah, that was the toughest game besides the final for us. So we're obviously in a good spot, but I think this team is primed to obviously play better than the ranking shows, if that means anything. But I don't know, man. Like I thought we've looked terrific in the last craziness. We looked good. The Northwest game, we had that weird stretch, but other than that, but last night the ball was pinging. Yeah. And I know it's a D2 team, but it's better than an NCAA team. That's not a knock. But also it's like, holy shit, the ball's like really zipping around and it looks good. It's like, okay, this is what it's supposed to look like. I think one of the keys, and I'll say it again and I'll say it every year, is 3-point shooting has gotta be on point.
Yeah.
Especially with the 2 bigs. Because last year, what was we had 9 losses, and like we had the weird stat, like if we made less than 5 threes, we were 0 for 8 or some shit like that. And it was so true. We just if we didn't make shots from 3, like we couldn't win those games. Yeah. And that literally was like pretty much the only stat I ever looked at that was like, holy shit, this is why we're not winning some of those late games.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a fun. I think it's going to be a fun year. It's always like this roster just seems so deep, but I want to get into a new segment that we're going to start. Every week we're going to point out a foundation player of the week. But since there hasn't really been a week yet, I'm going to go with the foundation player to start the season. This is a person who just represents Gonzaga and like who is going to just take us to the next level. And I feel like we have 2 guys, Huff and Graham Ike.
Yep.
And who is making this team?
The Perimeter will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
It's time for Home Team Rewards. Zag fans, get your Bulldog branded ICCU Premier Rewards Visa credit card, the only card where you can earn rewards for everyday purchases while giving back to Gonzaga University. Choose from a Visa Rewards card with a lower rate or a Premier Rewards card with maximum rewards. With no annual fees, card control, and next level security, you can spend smart from tap to app. Zags, rejoice! Find your card at iccu.com/GoZags on approved credit.
Two guys, Huff and Graham EK.
Yep.
And who is making this team go this season?
I think it's going to be the inside presence,
Yeah.
like you said, Huff and EK. Them starting the last 3 games of last year really solidified that they can play together. It's going to be a throwback offensively from what we had, during the good run with the, 2 bigs on the floor, J3, Rui, BC, obviously Shimmy, Zebo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we've had a run where we're like, okay, we're running late duck-in stuff, high-low, some of our old 90 action stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and I know people listening, like, what the fuck is all that? It's our 2 big stuff. We haven't ran 2 bigs. We've done kind of more of a hybrid bigs with Anton and Killian, you know what I mean? Where they were kind of stretched forward. Now we're going to straight 2. We're going to kind of lumberjacky inside. Doesn't mean we're going to play slow like Big Ten style or anything like that, but we're going to see how you can cover us. And we have built-in actions, and we practice those type of lob plays and fronts and stuff. I'll be curious to see how teams guard those, because I always talk about it all the time on the broadcast. All right, first 4 times it goes in, I want to see if they're double teaming or not. Are they playing high side, low side? Are they coming from the bottom? Are they coming from the top? Are they going off a player? You know what I mean? All those things matter. And then you have to kill it with 3-point shooting or kill it with passing. If you do that, then they can't double team. Okay, now we're throwing it to 2, lefty All-Americans that are catching it at 6 feet, and it's basically target practice. Like,
Yeah.
either I make it or I don't. It's not your defense. It's if I miss the shot or not. So I think Huff and EK are our foundation, obviously. Inside, they both need to play well. They've looked good. Obviously, again, not the tallest competition, but in these games, I'm always just look how they move and are they in shape. Obviously, I know they are going to be, but you got to be like sharp and are you edgy a little bit, and they both have looked that way. So I think our foundation guys will be Huff and EK, but it's going to be a great segment going forward. Kind of be like the player of the game, or who made the differences. And it's not always going to be scoring, but because I'll be looking for, okay, let's who's the guy that kind of made the Zag plays, and things like that. So
You said something on the broadcast last night that I was like, you need to coin this or trademark it. You said the lefty discrepancy. And I was like, oh, that's that, because having the 2 lefties down low, and you always talk about how hard it is to guard one lefty.
Yeah.
How hard would it be to guard 2 lefties?
Well, all 3 of our bigs are lefties.
All 3 of our
which
bigs,
is crazy.
Yeah.
I think if you're listening, you're like, that doesn't make very much sense. Okay, obviously it's a right-hand world. And so usually lefties can go both ways way more better than a right-handed can go left-handed. I mean, and usually lefties can shoot with both hands around the rim because it's a right-hand world. Because you have to, when you go to camps, they're like, everybody practice shooting. And they're
right.
the little kid in the back's going, oh, wait, I'm a lefty. You don't see him. And they're like, oh, shoot, my bad. And you have to go switch it. But sometimes the kids are like, well, I'll just do it. Or, hey, we're starting with right-hand layups. So they've already started with their offhand way more than others.
Right.
And then just defending the other shoulder, right? It's, right-hand jump hooks. Okay, cover the left shoulder. It's like, no, you flip it. So then your 3/4 or your fronts are different. It just makes it hard, man.
Yeah.
I liked having lefties on my girls' teams. I had a couple that were really good, and I would run curl actions to them or let them catch and just one hard dribble going left, layup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's you're just not used to it, and if you don't scout, it makes it really tough. And I think that happens with Braden and Graham because we've seen it. Even last year, I was laugh. I'm like, Graham would have 6 jump hooks going to his right shoulders in a row, and he'd be like, have they fucking scouted him? Like,
Right.
right? You know, but again, how many times have we seen Braden and Graham make like a 6-foot right hand jump hook? And it looks natural. It's because they've grown up and they've had to shoot right-handed more than left. How many times have you seen a righty shoot a left-hand jump hook? Not very much.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
So like lefties are harder to guard because you can usually go both ways. The right-hand world.
Yeah.
So lefty discrepancy.
Yeah.
Put it on a T-shirt. We'll sell it.
So we're getting into our Ask Adam segment, sponsored by ICCU, and the first question comes from actually our photographer. I asked him if he had a question, Matt Green, and he asked, "What is Davis Fogel's role on this team right now?"
So I think I have him as your 6th or 7th or 8th in your first unit coming off the bench. I would tell him to be an X factor as far as playing extremely fast downhill. Defensively, I'd be like, gamble a little bit. Who cares if you pick up 2 fouls? You know what I mean? So I think he can be our athlete off the bench. You know, if Tyron doesn't come off the bench, and he can be mixed with Tyron as well. But I would use him as an X factor. I would try to get him going. Second unit scoring is second unit scorer is what I would try to have him as, if that makes sense. So, you know, if you bring in your second unit, but okay, I'd run sets for him with that unit because usually they're going against backups as well. And if he can get a quick 4 to 6, okay, here comes the starter. So then you can maybe get 8 to 12 points with him off the bench. I just think he's ready. And it's not, you know, a thing where just because he's a freshman, I want to see something different. I'm just watching him the last 2 and then hearing the things I'm hearing from camp. It's like you kind of got to play him.
Yeah.
So I think his role will be a second unit scorer, play kind of crazy, X factor. I know that sounds all cliche, but like I was that for my freshman year. I played 19 minutes a game. I averaged almost 12, like 11.5 or something, 11.6. And they used to kind of tell me like, hey, just go on and like let it rip. We're going to run like some sets for you, or like if you're open, take it. And so I had the thought process like I'll probably get 4 shots up in maybe 4.5 minutes, like good team shots. And if I'm rolling, I'm going to stay in. If I don't, it didn't hurt the team. I didn't take bad ones. And then some nights I had 20.
Yeah.
Right. But I stayed in. Obviously, we weren't as deep, but we were good, you know, obviously. But I think if you can buy into that, it's a fun role too, because if you play shitty, it's not your fault. If you play good, you turn up. Well, the freshman off the bench is pretty fucking good, isn't he? You know, that's what the papers say and stuff. You're like, wow, he had 12 points in 16 minutes. Did you see him? You're like, yeah, it's a fun role because you just go out and let it rip.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you, like I said, if you get 2 fouls, like who gives a shit? They'll probably leave you in. So, like, you're not, it's not like a foul trouble situation. So you can gamble, you can fly around, you can play with a lot of motion. Usually you're playing against other backups. So if you can get yourself going early, you're going against a guy that's already cold as well. So, like, I think that's the role he'll play is second unit, X factor, be solid, but be kind of crazy at the same time as far as maybe take some weird pull-ups and dive into people and all those things. But I really like the kid.
Yeah.
I think he's got a bright future. It's nice to see a true freshman too. We haven't seen it in a while.
No, we haven't.
Usually they come in and they got to sit for a year, which I get, but it's also like,
I think that's why we're kind of like, so what if about Davis Vogel?
Yeah.
Because like we haven't experienced it really since Chet and Jalen, and it's nice. It's really like it's refreshing.
Yeah, it really 100%, because it's like you hear about the top 40 recruits, and sometimes they're just not flat out ready, or they get oversold.
Yeah,
because I know how this AAU system works. I've been on it on the girls' side. It's no different on the boys' side. Certain clubs get better looks than others. And then there's recruiting services that if you pay them more, they'll rate your kid higher. It's a real thing. It's fucking crazy.
That is crazy.
It is. It's crazy. It's a weird world. You know, it's like, just have the kid play. If they're good, they're good. Anyway.
Yeah.
And so, you know, sometimes when they come in, when I see top 40 or top 75, I always go, really, are we sure?
Yeah.
You know, and that's not a knock on the kid. It's not the kid's fault. I'm saying it's just kind of the world it is. So sometimes you just kind of roll your eye. I do. I'm like, let's see how he looks when he gets here. Because, you know, again, this is not pat myself on the back. We keep talking, but like I came in as like a fucking number 8 on the West Coast and small forward. So I would have been like a 300 player.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like not even on it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It literally doesn't matter. So I always go, okay, obviously he's good, but was he playing for one of the best EYBL teams? And if he was, then they're probably going to get more love. And then what was the schedule like? And then when the recruiting guy came and watched, the recruiting service guy watched, okay, he had 16, but 7 of those were run out dunks playing against kids that were just got out of algebra class. Yeah, I mean, it's a real thing.
No, I totally.
It's a real thing. So sometimes you're like, can he really play? Or is he just on like this all world AAU team and it's all layups or just literally wide ass open shots that you and I can go make right now because he's playing with 4 other Power 5 D1 top, 2 NBA guys, and it really happens. So we just had a player like that, and anyway, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm done talking about that subject. But
Okay.
so yeah, it wouldn't be good. Bad look by me if I did it. So anyway.
But yeah, But I think the burnout of probably talking so much about the transfer portal is also like
that is such a great point. It is. I'm fucking tired of talking about it. You always have to say in the world of the NIL and transfer portal, you have to because you have to preface it. But it's nice to see like, oh, if this kid was in high school last year and he's ready to play, and even if he's not completely ready, we are going to develop him a little bit, like we should, and make him a better basketball player instead of going, well, he averaged such and such in this conference. Can he make the jump? And
right.
And it's not a bad thing because we benefit from the transfer portal more than the other clubs. Because if I said that, complain about it, go ask some of the Big Sky schools and some of the other WCC. I mean, we stole Pepperdine with Ajayi's best player, right? So when I'm complaining about it, it's kind of a first world problem as far as college basketball is concerned. But at the same time, it's nice to just see an 18-year-old kid play.
Yeah, definitely.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that's the end of those. Those are 3 really good segments. I like those.
Yeah.
Good add to the season this year.
So the one last question I have, and because we're gonna open the season up against Texas Southern, they're ranked 300 in the Ken Palm, so they're down there out of like 500 teams. Finished 15-17 last year overall, 12-6 in the SWAC, Southwestern Athletic Conference. What are you hoping to see the Zags come out and do in this first game?
So historically, we've played Texas Southern when Mike Davis was there for a run, and then I think that the coach after that might be the same coach. They've actually played us pretty good. If you look at the scores, it wouldn't tell you that, but Huddy and I have talked about it. They've always given us a good look athletically, and they always played hard. And they're one of those clubs that they have to go play the money games. So they don't play a home game until they start season.
Oh, gosh.
So usually they're like 0-15 to start their season, and then they'll make the NCAA tournament at 15-17 because they'll like usually win the SWAC or something like that. You know what I mean? And they'll win their conference tournament, and they'll get in as a 15 seed and go get their ass kicked. But they're a legitimately good program, as funny as that sound. But they have to play every road game possible because that's how they fund their program. So they had 1 year, I think, when they played us, Duke, I think Kansas, and like Michigan State in like 14 days or something, all on the road.
Wow.
But they get a check probably for $200K a piece. There's your you can pay your assistants, you can afford the flights. And so when we play them, I always say, I'm like, they're not going to beat us, but also it's like we've played some really dog shit openers or programs, quote unquote. This isn't one of them. Okay. And I mean that. It's not just hyping up the show. And I'll say it on the pregame when we do our own radio show. They're actually played us good the last 3 times we've played them. I'm not even joking. They play hard every time. When Mike Davis was there, they were like they played their ass off, and like you actually had to beat them. And then you look up, you're like, oh, we're only up 12 in the first half. Then you look, oh, okay, we finally leaned on him like a heavyweight fighter or whatever. Took him to deep water, and then we ended up winning by 30. We're like, no, actually, they kind of like, you had to beat them. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So, we'll see how it is this year, but that's the program they are. So, like I said, if you're a fan doing a preview of them, like they were 15 and 17 last year, like that's because they go play all the heavyweights,
Right. Okay.
they have to.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. It's a good home opener. And then we have Oklahoma in the arena after that. And we'll talk about that after next week's episode, previewing them. That should be a good game as well. But great episode as far as we get good ruling, good start, season preview, some good segments.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a fun year. After Texas Southern, it's Oklahoma, Creighton, Arizona State, Alabama, Kentucky, Maryland, and we also have the Las Vegas tournament in there too. And we'll talk about that. It's a weird that tournament has a weird setup. It's like there's 16 teams in it, and we play 2, and then they based on how the teams finish, that's how they decide the championship game and the semifinals. So.
I think they'll probably go what fan base is here is fill out the arena, and then the TV execs will tell you who wants to play who is how I understand it.
Gotcha.
That's how everything works.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. It's like when you have that Maui, third place game or whatever it is. You have it at the prime time, but remember the championship games are noon.
Yeah,
and you're like, why is it? But they're like, oh, that's the TV slot because college football was on or whatever it was, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
There, it clicked finally. I was like, why are they having it at 11 a.m. when we're playing at 3? And it's because they're on right before
You're
Texas, Oklahoma football. They're like, oh, they're going to get a huge number right into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's exactly. It's going to be the same thing with whatever the TV execs decide. But that's going to be a great tournament, great season coming up. I'm excited. I'm literally excited for this team. Not that I'm not, but some years I'm like, we'll see. But they've looked good.
Yeah.
Look fast. They have a lot of options. We have a lot of fodder to argue over. A lot of things to, lineup wise we can talk about, which is legitimate.
Yeah, and we also have some surprises. I can't really talk about it yet, but we're gonna have some different types of shows this year. So.
Yes, absolutely. It's gonna be terrific. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to our sponsors, McGillivray Environmental, Idaho Central Credit Union, and M4 CPA. See you next week.